there is right now, excuse my cat, he needs attention. Yeah, so right now there is a debate going on. He wants to pet me back. Aw. Anyway, so there's a debate going on right now that is quite frightening, mostly because of the implications as well as the potential outcome. And it's also just creating this sort of false dichotomy in regards to what it's about. What is this debate? Economy versus health measures. It is false. It is not an either or situation. It is, we have a potential to do both, because it's not like, shut the whole thing down, shut the economy down, shut everything down, and then deal with this health crisis. And then when the health crisis is over, the economy is going to be, it's worse than the Great Depression. Everything will be just devastated, and people are going to die from, suicides from the depression, and then not having jobs, and the financial outcome, and all this other stuff. And you doctors, you don't care because you're so rich, and all this other stuff. And it's, on the other side, you have, like, people who are dying of this disease. If we don't manage this disease, and the people that are with it, then people are going to die. And then you look at Italy and all this other stuff. And then of course on the economy side, you have, it's like, it's mostly, it's old people, willing to sacrifice old people and all this other stuff, which, yikes. But also, it's not just old people. Like, for example, I've been having to isolate like crazy and wash my hands like crazy and all this other stuff because my 27-year-old ass has severe asthma. Like, I have asthma so bad that if I laugh too hard, I get an asthma attack. So, and then if you have a heart condition, if you have any kind of condition involving your immune system, if you have, like, there's a bunch of health problems that put you at greater risk. But there's also the issue, and they're saying, like, if 1% of the population, it's not 1%. The death rate is between 3 and 4%, last I looked at it. But also, that's fluid. We don't know for sure the 100% death rate, but it also is dependent on what the care is like. The death rate gets lower if there is adequate care, if the hospitals are not overloaded. The death rate skyrockets when the hospitals are overloaded, and it's not just people from dying of COVID-19. When the when the hospitals are overloaded, it's not just people dying of COVID-19. It's adding to that death rate. That death rate is people dying of COVID-19, obviously, but then you also have people who wouldn't die, who are dying because the hospitals are just fucking overloaded. Because, we can't intubate you when your lung has collapsed from that car accident because all of our ventilators and all this other shit are being used by COVID-19 patients. Because keep in mind, 20% of patients who get it need to be hospitalized. Okay, and we're not taking those numbers from people who have low testing. We're taking those numbers from places like South Korea that have high testing, okay? So if 20% need to be hospitalized, then all of a sudden, those 20% don't have enough care, so they're not recovering, so that number's going to skyrocket. And that's what we're seeing in Italy. Like, their death rate right now, because their hospitals and their healthcare system is so overloaded, we're seeing, death rates, up. I think last time I looked at it, it was somewhere like 9-point-something%. And that was up from the couple days prior when I saw it was 8%. So it's just going up and up and up, because people aren't surviving because there's not the resources. They're running out of, supplies. They're running out of masks. They're running out of ventilators. They're running out of beds. They're running out of everything. And then you have people who are dying from things that they wouldn't have died earlier before, just because they don't have enough doctors, they don't have enough nurses, they don't have enough beds. The ICU is full. They have all these problems. So, even young people like, well, I'm not going to get it, so I'm just going to spread it around. Well, then what happens if you get in a car accident? What happens if you, get into just any kind of, even not even a car accident, any kind of accident? And what happens if you end up with an accidental poisoning, even just like food poisoning or something that normally would be very treatable, but now you can't get the care you need, and then, you end up dying from something that, human beings have figured out how to treat ages ago, but we just can't get the care to the patients. So this is what we're afraid of. But the thing is that there is actually, there is economic implications. We understand this. But it's, and you might be like, okay, where's this lack of a false dichotomy? I'm not hearing it. War Measures Act / Emergency Measures Act. Because this is a thing. Countries have had this for a long time, since like World War II is the main thing why most countries end up developing this. You know, USA has it, Canada has it. Some of them have just kept the name, War Measures Act, and then just expanded it, what it covers. Others, like Canada, for example, in case you're wondering why I'm specifically mentioning Canada, I'm Canadian, have changed the name to Emergency Measures Act. And what that entails, now, here's the important thing. Trump has enacted this act, but hasn't done anything with it. Hasn't, said, okay, this is what we're going to do with this, that, and the other thing. And you'll see what I mean by this. What you do with it is saying, okay, previously these things aren't, these non-essential things that have been shut down because of this emergency. Now we're going to open them back up again, except instead of doing what you were doing before, we're going to have you do these things that are, have to do with the emergency. So for example, a manufacturing plant that was making things that are non-essential, my brain is going to cars, but I don't actually know if the car, I don't, but I'm guessing they're not making cars. And so the car manufacturers, let's say, as an example, okay, instead of cars, you're going to open up your plants again, and, instead of making car parts, you're going to be making, or cars in general, you're going to be making ventilators, and, or you're going to be making hospital beds or whatever, and then, like the hotels, you're not, people aren't traveling, right? So the hotels, what you're going to do is you're going to reopen, and then you're going to become healthcare centers specifically devoted to treating COVID-19, so the hospitals aren't super full. And then the thing is that they can't, because oftentimes at hospitals when cuts are being made, the first cuts are to janitorial staff, to these sorts of jobs that they have at hospitals. You have janitorial staff, you have like cleaning staff, you have administrative staff, you have cooking staff, and all this other stuff to prepare meals for these patients, right? So all you have to do is just, you have the hotel staff just doing those jobs, and obviously having them in the protective equipment, of course. So like, have the administrative staff handling the paperwork so patients aren't getting lost in the system. You have it all organized. Okay, this is who this patient is, and this is what medication they've had. You need administrative staff in a hospital. I know a lot of people in the States especially are like, all this bureaucracy, administrative, and it is because of all the insurance problems, but even in, somewhere like here, in Canada, where we have, the single payer healthcare system, you still need administrative staff to handle, like, oh, this patient, handle people's files, and like this patient is in this room and has had this medication and has like whatever, right? So, they can have the administrative staff at the hospital, and also people like just, working the front desk to check people in and stuff like that. You just give them a little bit of extra training maybe. And, you have cleaning staff, keeping things clean, obviously like full, hazmat gear type thing, but still, keeping things clean and constantly like sanitizing everything. And you have the cooking staff preparing the meals. Like for example, I haven't been able to see my boyfriend through all of this because of, he works in a kitchen at a hospital. So those are important staff too to have. A lot of people overlook those kind of like background staff, like the janitorial staff, the cooking staff, and all these other people who work in a hospital who aren't doctors and nurses, but they're vital for the functioning of a hospital. So you're gonna have those at not just the hotels, but also like at arenas. And like, this isn't me coming up with this like, why don't we do this? I've been hearing this from doctors and stuff like that. So they're the ones who are like, we need to not restart the economy like everything's normal. They're the ones who are saying like, we need to start opening up these hotels and arenas to be medical centers because our hospitals are full. And this is something that we do. This is like an actual, there's an actual things in place to do this. Why aren't we doing this kind of thing? And I'm not getting this idea of like, oh, let's do the manufacturing. I got that from somewhere else too. I'm not the ones coming up with these ideas. These are actual things that we have in place to do this stuff, so that we can ramp up manufacturing of medical supplies, which we desperately need. There are fucking doctors using like, fabric, or like, just basically like, just like doing this kind of shit, which if you have been relying on lip reading, sorry, I said doing this kind of shit with, which, fabric is not enough. You need specialized fabric, and you need, carbon filters and whatever, and even like those little like, hospital like the kind of, I actually have some somewhere, but anyways, I'm kind of hooked up with a cord because I actually have a decent microphone for once. Anyway, so and I'm not gonna go rummaging around in the middle of the video, but the typical like, the hook on your ears, and just like the little fold out mask kind of thing. Little fold-up masks, and the little metal bits, those don't create a solid enough seal, and they don't have the filters in it and required, so they don't actually protect the wearer. So if you're hoarding those masks, first of all, you're not doing anything. But if you're hoarding N95 masks, stop it, because there are medical professionals, they are on the front lines, And we need them to stay healthy, because if they get sick, then we'll have no one to treat the sick, okay? And that's going to be a huge problem, all right? So we need them. But also, they're asking, I'm in one of those, I mentioned in my previous video on this subject, I'm in, one of those care groups. They're asking for people, like, it's not enough, but we have people in certain hospitals who don't even have fabric, don't even have handkerchiefs, don't have anything. And they're asking, like, it's just for the interim, can you sew some masks for us? Because some of you people have been, sewing masks for yourselves, and it's not enough, but it's better than absolutely nothing, because it'll stop like a teensy tiny amount of it. And it's just, so I made this for myself yesterday, because I have to actually go to my doctor's office because I have this other health problem, and there's this preventative treatment that I had a doctor's appointment right before this shit hit the fan, and then she prescribed me this thing, and I was supposed to go back in once I got the medication, and I got the medication, and then shit hit the fan, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and then I was just kind of not doing anything, and then she called me, like, again, we need to do this, because, like, the thing that's for, like, has been sending me to the ER intermittently over the last several months, so we don't want you to go to ER again, because, so yeah, so they think, like, just going to the doctor's office for this one appointment tomorrow would be preventing possible ER visits in the future, so. Anyway, so I made this mask for myself, so I could go to the appointment, and so, because again, like, I have those little, surgical mask things, because those don't do anything, to protect you. So I made this out of because I get distilled water to water my finicky plants, so I had an old bottle of it, so it's like a 4 liter, or I guess it's, sorry, the reason why I'm leaning is because I have my phone propped up on this thing that's kind of covering the middle of it, so I want to make sure I'm, like, seeing it properly. Anyways, so I have this from a 4 liter bottle that I cut in half, and then added some things to it, so some padding so it's not, like, cutting on my forehead. I also added a rubber band here across the middle so that, this isn't smushed up against my nose. So it's not smushed up against my nose or my lips. So this rests on my chin, and then of course ribbon to tie it around my head. And then, it goes like this. So it's kind of like, I've seen some visor masks used. So the plastic, if someone coughs on this, it hits the plastic. Can't get through the plastic, it's waterproof because it was holding water. And then obviously I can breathe because it doesn't form a seal on the sides, but it does, like, I can kind of breathe because there's just like a little tiny gap of air, but it's all the way back here, so it's not, at risk of getting my eyes, nose, and mouth. And also mainly the breathing is, the air is flowing down below my chin, so the air is able to come up around, because air flows, up and down, but liquid tends to follow gravity, so that's kind of my theory on that. But visibility isn't great, so I'm actually working on other prototypes and other versions of it, and other things that I'm like, oh, maybe I can use it for bags, obscures to create. So, because the thing is that they don't have anything, and like they don't even have. They're using like, they like when in these sorts of emergencies, you need the like proper visor guard kind of shit, right? They're like hazmat type suits, but they don't have that shit. So I'm trying to come up with like proper, like, plastic shit like this, because that's the shit I can make. I do know how to sew, and I have a fucking sewing machine. The fabric isn't enough, right? I don't have the materials, but this would be more protective. This sort of thing, and obviously I'm thinking of making like even maybe this sort of thing, but like with a window with some saran wrap taped really, really well, or some other like maybe heavier plastic that's clear, taped really, really well. Or something, I don't know. And this is my first version of it. I just made it yesterday, but I'm thinking of making, I've already thought of some other possible things to do. And if I find a really good method of it, I'm going to post the instructions for this one as well as every other one, so that other people can make them too, and everything. But yeah, so, yeah, it's just kind of like, people are running out of, the point of this is that they're running out of supplies. They need proper medical equipment, not garbage, glued and taped and shit together and tied together. They need proper medical equipment. Like, they are getting so desperate, they're asking for fabric masks for hospitals. In other places, they're using handkerchiefs because they have literally nothing in hospitals. So if you're one of those hoarders who got like a million fucking masks, donate that shit. Contact your local hospital. Maybe they don't specifically need it, but they will know someone who does, okay? Ask where you can donate it, because guaranteed you do not need it nearly as much as they do, because they are the ones interacting with the confirmed fucking cases, alright? and maybe, you know, keep enough for yourself so that, you know, you're not catching it and spreading it. But the thing is that, especially if you're one of those like high risk, you know, you're working at a grocery store or something, fine, I can understand that. But don't be keeping like, you know, 1,000 fucking masks because you bought like a bunch of packages. And like I've been seeing like on AliExpress, which is, you know, the sort of direct buying from China and whatnot, and they still have some for sale. You know, this is like the, you know, those wholesale websites. If you can afford to and feel like helping in this crisis, buy that shit and so that you can, you know, give it to the hospitals as well if you can afford to. And like a lot of this community care, we need to take care of each other in this crisis, because the more we can stop the spread of this, so like stay home if you can, stay like, be washing your hands constantly, like slow the spread as much as possible, because the sooner we can get this shit under control, the sooner shit can get back to normal, which is why we can't just, you know, put everything back to normal right away, because then you'll just create the problem even worse. And it's either we do some uncomfortable, like some, you know, annoying things now, and they're maybe, you know, a bit uncomfortable, but and quite difficult, or we're gonna have to do some horrifying things later, okay? Because here's the thing too, if a huge chunk of the population dies, that's also gonna tank the economy. Like, that's why it's not an either or thing either. Because it's also not good for the economy when, like, you know, a huge percentage of the population dies. And we are talking about people who are part of, we're not talking about people who have already retired either, because that's also part of what they're doing, like, well, they've already retired, it's not going to affect the economy. We're talking about people who are younger, because if you have asthma, you can still work. If you have a heart condition, you can still work. There's still several jobs you can still work. Maybe you can't do like the hard, you know, physical labor, but, you know, you can still work in like an office or something. If you have, you know, there's even immune conditions, you can still be working and stuff like this. And so if those people die, you know, that's just the people who, but then also if the healthcare system is overloaded, there are people who are catching it who, you know, had conditions that they didn't even know they had because it was so minor, but then they needed hospitalization. Again, 20% need hospitalization. And then that, you know, now it's, you know, in Italy you have like close to 10% now who are dying from it. And then you have people who are dying, the healthcare system gets overloaded, and then people are dying because the hospitals are completely overloaded, the healthcare system's completely overloaded. You know, you're gonna have, you know, people, doctors who aren't even hospital doctors. We may even get to a point where, to be clear, I'm not shitting on veterinary, we may even get to a point where like veterinarians and vet techs are working in hospitals, because we just need doctors of any kind. And to be clear, I'm not shitting on veterinarians and vet techs. To be clear, they are doctors and they are veterinarians, because they are nurses. Vet techs are nurses, to be clear, they're just animal nurses. But they are specializing in non-human species, and now they're having to treat human species, or humans, because so many healthcare providers will end up getting sick and end up dying too. We've already seen healthcare providers dying and getting sick and dying. I mean, that the whistleblower from this back in China, he died, right? The first person to sound the alarm about this virus has died. He was a doctor. We're going to get doctors who aren't remotely, you know, qualified for hospitals, you know, doing like intensive stuff. Like I remember seeing a meme like, you know, this gets, like, if we don't do this, you're gonna have a gynecologist intubating you. Because that's, yeah, it's going to get to a point where we just need any kind of doctor doing this stuff, because we're just so short on doctors, you know? And you're gonna have like, because it's gonna get bad if we don't address it early on, if we don't take the measure. We need to flatten the curve, okay? And how is the economy going to function if everyone's sick, if a huge chunk of the population dies? You're thinking of it in the short term, you need to think of it in the long term, you need to think of the full implications of what you're fucking doing, alright? Like, the economy's going to tank if you don't fucking act appropriately. And we can help the economy and help the virus by enacting these emergency measures or war measures, whatever your fucking country still calls it whatever. If we just retool the economy to address the virus, and then afterwards the economy will, you know, then we can just go back to whatever it is after this shit is dealt with. But in the meantime, we need to focus all of our fucking efforts on this virus. Work from home if you can, because there are a lot of people still working from home, and then work, and then, you know, all these jobs that can be retooled to fighting the virus We need to fucking do that already. Why aren't we doing that? It's just this slow fucking thing. It's the economy, thinking it's either or. It's not. It is so not. It's not like just. Ugh! It's so frustrating for anyone that actually knows anything about the subject. Everyone's so quick to jump to eugenics. Why is everyone so quick to jump to eugenics? It's so frustrating. Like, just retool the economy. Get more medical supplies. Sorry, I'm getting quite. We need experts in leading the charge, not idiots like Donald Trump. I don't care if you're a fan of Donald Trump. He just is a goddamn idiot, okay? I don't care if I get a bunch of hate from Trump followers. Your president is a fucking idiot, alright? And I'm not Canadian. I mean, I'm not American, I'm Canadian. So if I say not my president, he literally isn't. And also, I'm not overly fond of Trudeau. He's been kind of bungling some of this shit. So, especially recently, so, like, to the point where even the Conservative leader and the NDP leader are agreeing with each other and proposing the exact same shit independently. Like, when you're fucking up so bad that the complete opposite ends of the spectrum, political spectrum, are fucking agreeing with each other, like, come on. To be clear, if you're unfamiliar with Canadian politics, Conservatives are the right wing, NDP is the left wing, and the Liberals, which is Trudeau's party, is centrist. Anyways. Okay. So, main thing of this, not a false dichotomy, retool the economy, and help if you can, alright? Even if it is making, masks and stuff like this. And, like, especially out of plastics and stuff like that, because especially with recycling, because hey, good for the environment, recycling this shit. Dig through your recycling bin. Find materials, especially clear plastics and whatnot. So see what you can make. Get those creative juices flowing and see what you can do. We can get through this if we work together.